I'm sorry to say, but the title is not clickbait. So, you may have heard about the EU's proposed Article 13, sometimes referred to as the meme ban or the internet filter. Basically, in short, what Article 13 would do is it would place the burden of responsibility for copyrighted material that's uploaded onto the platforms that host that material themselves. And that burden of responsibility would be there as soon as the content is uploaded. Websites would basically have to create software to accurately detect and block all the copyrighted content that wasn't permitted to be hosted by the original rights holder, and if they didn't do this, they would be liable to be fined every single time that a piece of copyrighted content was uploaded to their platform, as soon as it was uploaded. Even if they later delete it, they're still liable. Now, we've known since day one that this would mean a lot of smaller platforms would simply not be able to deal with this. You know, making automated content filters and detecting all copyrighted content isn't something that just anyone can do. It's going to cost a lot of money and it's going to take a lot of time. So many smaller sites would just be forced to shut down. But what I was unaware of until a couple of days ago was that this may also be just as bad, if not worse, for some larger platforms, and one of those is YouTube. So without further ado, let's see what YouTube themselves have to say on the subject. Proposed version of Article 13 would eliminate the existing notice and takedown system currently in place to protect rights holders and platforms. This would make platforms liable at the moment of upload for any copyright infringement. What that means is that if I uploaded a video that contains copyright infringement of some kind, and YouTube correctly identify it using their content ID system or something similar, or someone reports it and finds out that it's got copyrighted material and they take it down, it doesn't matter. It's too late, they're already liable, and they can now be fined for the fact that they allowed that content on their website in the first place. Now, with over 400 hours of content uploaded every single minute to YouTube in the EU, this means YouTube would literally be racking up billions of dollars of fines practically overnight, practically every day. The only way that they could stop this is if they were somehow able to identify all copyrighted material before it was ever uploaded and published. In YouTube's own words, the risks associated with accepting content uploads with partial or disputed copyright information would be far too large for platforms such as YouTube. YouTube would be forced to block millions of videos, existing and new ones, in the European Union. It could drastically limit the content that one can upload to the platform in Europe. Creators would be especially hard hit. Videos that could be blocked include educational videos, like what I've got on this channel, large number of official music videos, fan music covers, mashups, parodies, and more. They also go on to say that a piece of content with partial or unknown ownership is, to YouTube, treated the same as a piece of content that is unlicensed and so would have to be blocked. And then, a message to all of the YouTube creators in the EU, such as myself, they say, YouTube and other platforms may have no choice but to block your existing videos and prevent you from uploading new ones in the EU unless you can prove you own everything in your videos. So is that really so bad? I mean, you know, we're not supposed to infringe on copyright. We're not supposed to use other people's material unless we have permission to do so. So, you know, as long as I own everything in my videos and I have the right to use everything in my videos, I should be fine, right? Well, for one, this video would be blocked under the new system. You see that game footage in the background? Well, while that game in particular, Old School RuneScape, and the company owning it, Jagex, are very encouraging of people streaming or recording the footage of their game, the way YouTube will see it is simple. I am not the copyright holder for that game, and so under the new system, this video would automatically be blocked unless I could prove that I was the owner of RuneScape's copyright, which I'm obviously not. You know, perhaps if I got express written permission from the team at Jagex, I could post this video. But you can probably see how that would cause problems and delay or impede creators from actually putting out your favourite content. And that's not all. You see that writing on the screen, you know, those letters, those words? Well, guess what? Fonts are also licensed. So I would have to go in and make sure I have the proper license for that particular font, and it's not even certain if that will be enough. After all, YouTube's phrasing says the following. It says, unless you can prove you own everything in your videos, It doesn't say unless you can prove you have the license to use everything in your videos. That means they might just apply a catch-all clause in which you can no longer use other people's content whatsoever, even with a license, because it's just too problematic for them to determine who owns what and who's licensing out what. So they might just say, okay, you can only post videos with stuff that you yourself own. So that means that, you know, if you want to use a font in your video, you would have to make the font yourself. If you want to use an intro, you can't use one of them free intros that someone makes. You can't use anyone else's free graphics. You can't use public domain graphics or Creative Commons graphics. You have to make the whole thing from scratch. And, you know, if that doesn't sound too bad, well, now you can't post Let's Play videos, because if you wanted to post a Let's Play, you would have to make the game yourself, because you do not own the rights to any game unless you've created it yourself. I think you can see what I'm getting at and how that is completely absurd. No more Creative Commons content, no more royalty-free content, no more Let's Plays, reviews, parodies, potentially no more tutorials. Now, hopefully this is just an error in YouTube's phrasing and they don't actually mean that you have to actually own every single thing, you just have to have the rights to use it. And if that's the case, that's a little bit better, but that's still pretty terrible because it doesn't stop there. You know, we then have to prove that this is all in fact our content or all in fact something that we have the right to. And it's unclear yet as to what the process for proving that would be. But I can imagine that there's probably a lot of hoops to jump through. You know, the video process for creating a video is already pretty drawn out without the addition of an individual application process that you have to go through for every single video to get it approved. Which brings me to my next point, manual review, manual approval of videos. Since YouTube would basically be held liable for any content uploaded to their platform that got released, even if they later removed it, there's no way that they would just simply let you upload whatever and then filter it later. They would have to review videos before they get uploaded, and they're not going to be able to detect all of the copyrighted material before it, you know, gets released. So they're going to have to go through and manually watch every single video that gets uploaded to YouTube and approve it manually before it can be released. Now, you know, maybe that doesn't sound so bad, but if you think about it, 400 hours of content released every minute, who is going to be watching that? Well, if you're familiar with YouTube and you've been staying up to date with the news regarding YouTube, you'll know that YouTube recently made it so to get monetization on YouTube, you have to go through a manual review process like that. Now, with thousands of channels applying for monetization, they ended up with several months delays on the review process. So it was taking people several months to get their channel reviewed and approved. That's with just thousands of channels. This would be millions of videos that are going up all of the time and they have to watch all of them. So we're potentially looking at 6 month, 1 year, maybe 2 year delays before a video gets out after it's been uploaded. That's really not an exaggeration. That means that if I wanted to actually have regular videos coming out, I'd potentially have to have like a year or two of videos ready in advance. And if the reviews were backed up that far, there's also no way for me to know if the videos would even get approved in the end. So I might, you know, schedule a year's worth of videos for release and then a year later they start, you know, getting reviewed and they just all get declined because of some one detail in the video that they weren't sure about the copyright of. And then just like that, you have a year of work completely down the drain for nothing. And it gets worse, given just how complicated and costly this process would be for YouTube. A very, very likely route that they could take is just to block EU creators, just to not allow EU creators to upload videos whatsoever. Yes, you heard that right. Me and other EU YouTubers may simply no longer be able to upload YouTube videos whatsoever come next year. The problem isn't isolated to YouTube either. While I'd hope to continue on another platform if YouTube gets shut down, or my YouTube channel gets shut down anyway, the thing is, chances are most other major platforms are going to do the same thing, so I honestly have no idea where I'd go. Hopefully I could find somewhere, but I don't know. So it pains me to say this, but this could very well be the death of Tipharot and all the channels you know and love if we don't do something about it. It may be the death of every single channel on YouTube that's from the EU. And it may also be the death of US channels that you know and love too. After all, you know, As much as, say, 40 to 50% of the views that a lot of these US channels get are from the EU. And another thing that YouTube said they do is actually block EU viewers from seeing potentially copyrighted content from the US and so on. So these people would lose a huge chunk of their views. For a smaller creator who's living off YouTube full time but only just scraping by, losing, 40% or 50% of their monetization income could be enough to make them no longer able to sustain it and have to quit making YouTube videos. So this might not just be the death of my channel, the death of some of the other channels that you know and love. This could be the death of YouTube as a whole as we know it. So if you care about this channel, if you care about any channel on YouTube, if you care about YouTube as a whole, please do something. Now, the first thing that I want you to do is to go to my Twitter page right now. That's twitter.com/Tipharot. You can also find a link to it down in the description, and follow me. The reason for this is that if they do block EU creators from uploading videos, or I lose access to my channel for any other reason, Twitter will be where I notify you guys on what will be happening with my future content, or whether or not I'll still be making videos, and if so, where you can find them. Next, spread the word. Tell your friends about why Article 13 in its current state could be a disaster. If you're a content creator yourself, make a video, a blog post, a tweet, or write an article about this and share it with your followers. You can also use the hashtag savetheinternet on Twitter to show your support. Along with that, check out the websites saveyourinternet.eu and savetheinternet.info. And if you are an EU citizen, remember that the EU elections are coming up soon. Contact your local members of EU Parliament and let them know that you will not vote for or support anyone who supports Article 13 in its current form. When it does come time to vote, I do suggest voting for people who were against Article 13, as these people actually care about the freedom and future of our internet. The way I see it, people who are so out of touch with technology that they don't understand these things, people who can't even work a phone, even work a computer, shouldn't be in charge of policies governing the future of our internet, plain and simple. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here, all of this does have me a little scared, and I don't actually know what I'm going to do if all of this comes to pass. But I do believe in you guys, and I believe that together we can find a solution to all of this. Hopefully we can put a stop to the current version of Article 13 and get them to make some amendments so that creators don't suffer. If Article 13 does unfortunately pass in its current state, and YouTube does force me and others off the platform, then I don't plan to give up there. I don't yet know where I'll host my content or what I'll do, but I will figure something out. Just make sure that you're following me on Twitter at twitter.com/Tipharot, or Facebook, fb.me/Tipharot, or Patreon, patreon.com/Tipharot, and stay tuned there for updates if I do stop uploading videos here. If you don't use any of those platforms, then add my Twitter to your bookmarks. You don't have to actually be following me on there, you don't have to actually have an account, just add me to your bookmarks and make a little note to check there if my channel goes down. Thank you all for your support, I'm sure we can get through this together. Take care folks, and hopefully I'll see you soon.